Hey guys, here we are again. It's still the 23rd of February, and this is Deer Hunter DVM coming to you back with some more shed action. I just found another little bitty guy out here on the um, kind of the field edges. I am by no means the world's greatest shed hunter. I'm not even sure if I'm above average. You know, I probably miss my fair share because I'm always too busy looking for sign and deer trails and other people's tree stands and all kinds of stuff. I get distracted easy in the woods. Always a lot to take in, but when I feel like in broken farm ground like we live in here in Illinois, there's enough timber to make shed hunting kind of difficult in places where you just have a lot of ground to cover. But I'll tell you the kind of the few places that I like to kind of key in on, especially on days where I don't have a whole lot of time, or these little points like this. If you look behind me, he extends all the way out here to the end of this cornfield, and it's kind of low and protected. And I mean, if you look here, I don't know if you can see this very good, but lots of scat here, here. I mean, it's all over the place out here. There. Tracks are everywhere. So, I feel like, in timbered country like this, the two places that I like to try and key in on are transitions into food sources uh, and thermal cover. And, food sources are pretty easy. You just go out and look for horns, and it's boring, and you don't really find a whole lot of out about the animal per se, but you can pick up antlers. And these were, no different. These guys are out here in the cornfield, and, it makes perfect sense. They're out here about every night eating, keeping up with the winter energy demands, and they're lowering their head and picking it up, lowering their head, picking it up, and eventually, they're, the old antler's going to fall off doing that. So, the other place we like to look is these transitional slopes that are, when they're going downhill or uphill, their horn's liable to pop off when they're walking. So, if there's one piece of advice I could tell you in timbered country that we have is don't try and cover it all, because there's just no way in hell you'll be able to do it, and you just drive yourself nuts. Um, going in every day trying to find every square inch, go through every square inch is not possible. But if you just do your homework and you just do your best, you'll find some antlers. But I like to key in on these food sources, these little kind of divots or trenches that come out to the food, and of course thermal cover and bedding this time of year. And if you cover those areas, you'll find 60-70% of your horns in those areas are better. And I don't really know that statistic is accurate, but that's my eyeball figure. And again, I'm by no means the world's best shed hunter. I probably miss way more than I should, but I picked some up along the way. So, you know, that's just it. I'm going to keep going, and I got a couple more hours to cover, and maybe we'll see what we can find. Maybe I want to find a big one today. Hopefully we'll find a giant. So let's keep going, and I'll talk at you on the other side. Okay, I just cut a video just a second ago about um, looking on these edges here where, the fields got these little points that come out to them. If you follow this all the way around, all the way in a half moon circle, comes all the way out to another point on this side. And I think I might have the match to this one here. Looky here. It looks like we matched him up. Yeah, surely to goodness. Could be the match. Kind of piddly, little bitty guys today. Nothing major, but yeah. That looks like a match. We're going to call it a match for all intents and purposes, by golly. Like Merle Haggard says. By golly. So, that's just it, man. I've spent 3 hours walking big timber and couldn't find squat. I spent an hour walking little timber with contour over to a field edge. Got 3 of them. Just how it works. So, let's keep digging. looks like we got another one here. Bingo. I wish I could find something big. So, there you have it. I've spent, the first 3 hours in a big section of timber, and I didn't find squat. And in the last hour, I've spent just covering these little fingers and little swales that all contour out up into these cornfields, and you're gonna find antlers. Like, if you want a good go-to spot to just go find random horns and find find some antlers to take home, these little points that come out to these cornfields are money makers. And I think I've matched up 2 little sheds today, so that's 4 on the day. I'd like to find something that scores 60, 70, 80 inches instead of 20. But an antler's an antler, and I ain't complaining. Let's keep going.